What's up, guys? Welcome back. Glad you're here. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at an amazing deck of cards. That's right. We're talking about the new V6 Orbits. That's right, by Chris Orbit Brown, the newest one to the series. So buckle in your seatbelts, because we're going there. Let's go.
The V6 Orbits are the 6th deck out of the 10 in the series to be printed by Chris in the Orbit deck. This deck features a really cool outer space or out of this world alien type of theme. The front of the tuck case features this really cool dark seafoam green looking color, and it has stars above this really cool forest line. You have the word Orbit in white, and the whole outer part of the tuck case has this nice white medium poker border around it as well. The left side of the tuck case features a little bit of ad copy about the orbitbrown.com. The right side of the tuck says 6th edition. The bottom part of the tuck case features the logo of the Orbit deck and Chris Orbit Brown. The top of the tuck case features the numbers 23 for the 23,000 decks that Chris puts out every version, making these decks still limited, but pretty easy to get, and he does that for a reason. The top of the tuck flap is part of where the tuck seal is, which is the pretty much same exact tuck seal we're used to seeing, but the colorway matches the deck as always too. The inside of the flap says persist and endure, and the deeper you gaze into the cosmos, the harder it is to look back. On the inside of the tuck flap itself, we have this really nice neon greenish color, and you have hashtag the Orbit deck and the Instagram the Orbit deck. On the left and right flaps, you have a spaceship and an alien face. The back design of the tuck case is the back design of the cards. You have the really cool swooshes that come in that really nice light neonish green color over the forest line. The forest line is a little bit of that really dark bluish green color, and you have a really nice contrast that comes in almost like a vignette that comes in after the border on the corners and edges of the cards, giving it a really nice contrast. The shadows and whatnot using that really cool green color on the trees gives it a super nice effect, as well as the stars in the night sky. Setting it all off with the alien spaceship coming in with the bright lights and abducting somebody from the ground. This by far is my favorite back design of the 6 editions, and I'm sure they will only continue to get better as it goes forward. So the Orbit deck, as always, is printed by the United States Playing Card Company on their thin crushed premium stock. It does have a traditional cut and an air cushion emboss, making this deck fantastic for Magic, gameplay, and cardists alike. Alright, so with this deck, you're going to receive 4 extra cards other than the 52 in the deck. The first one is going to be this double backer, which is pretty much a standard nowadays in a lot of decks we're seeing being released. The next card is going to be a duplicate 8 of spades, which is also pretty cool for a lot of different effects that you can conjure up. The last 2 cards are going to be the duplicate and original jokers. These are pretty similar, except where the alien is on the bike, we're used to seeing the astronauts, which is designed to pay homage to the standard original jokers that we're used to seeing in our rider back decks. You'll have the word Joker in the same text font as usual, circles in the corresponding corners, as well as the number 23 etched in the rock for the 23,000 decks printed every edition. The pips and indices, as well as some of the court cards, which we'll get into momentarily, are pretty much your Arco standard, to say the least. As far as the court cards, like I said earlier, they are Arco standard, to say the least, except for a good handful of them, which we will show here now. The King of Hearts, which is Chris Orbit's father. The Jack of Hearts, which is Sean O, as you can see in his banding across his chest line, as well as the Two of Hearts reveal and the feather in his hand as well. The Jack of Spades is Daniel Schneider. The Jack of Clubs is Mr. Nick Stumphauser. Chris's beautiful wife Holly is the Queen of Diamonds, holding the spaceship in her hand. And then, as always, the Jack of Diamonds is Chris Orbit Brown. The aces in this deck are your Orbit and Arco standard as well. Even the Ace of Spades looks pretty familiar, except you have this time around the astronaut on the back on the Ace of Spades, taking a picture on the moon of what looks like to be a flying saucer. It says persistent endure the Orbit deck, the orbitbrown.com, and the number 23 underneath.
Alright, so what are my final thoughts on this deck? It's an amazing deck of cards. 5 out of 5. This is my favorite one to date, okay? And it's funny because I catch myself saying that almost every time around, you know? Especially, you know, and it's funny because it's not putting a damper on the series or anything like that, but it's funny because you can see where Daniel took over things. And like I said, it's not saying anything bad about the previous designer. I can't remember his name offhand, but the thing about it is, like I said, when Daniel took this over, you can see that gradient difference. And it's funny because they're always saying, how are we gonna top this one? How are we gonna top this one? And they figure out a way to do it every time. And it's funny because a lot of people are already saying, oh my God, how are they gonna top this one? The same way Daniel Schneider tops everything. He's always on top of his game. He's never caught off guard. He knows what he's doing. They already have the V7s in and under construction. So, I mean, this is not even a game. This is not like they're new to the process. So I cannot wait to see what they come up with next. I do want to thank Chris from the Orbit deck for sending this out to me to allow me to do the review for you. And I'll leave all the information as well as the links below so you guys can go check these out. They sold 12,000 in one day, which is just mind-blowing to say the least. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my review. So if you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed doing it for you, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you amazingly beautiful people on the next one.